What's that tingling in your body really trying to tell you? Let's just drop right into that mystery. Right now, think of yourself sitting there. Maybe you're relaxing, lost in thought. Or maybe you're just listening to music, hands resting gently together, face soft. And then, totally out of nowhere, there's this gentle, dancing current that moves along your spine. Could be the crown of your head. Sometimes it's out at your fingertips. It's warm, then it's electric, and it's oddly comforting, but also mysterious. We don't have words for these moments that feel like the universe itself is tracing patterns on your skin. I want you to really hang out with that for a sec. Does that ring any bells for you? Those moments where you're not sure if it's a breeze or if something way deeper is at play. It's not anxiety, not something purely physical, like shivering when you're cold or goosebumps from a horror movie. No. This is a buzz that feels like a message. Maybe it's an intuitive download, a ripple of truth brushing your nervous system, or your spirit communicating when your mind is finally quiet enough to listen. Have you ever felt those goosebumps when you're in the presence of music so beautiful, it's like your body reacts before your brain knows what hit it? Or shivers rolling down your arms when someone says something so raw, so perfectly timed, it's like the words themselves have wings. Now, imagine if those weren't just accidents, weren't just your body's static, but were, in fact, your soul's Morse code. You know, if you slow down and really pay attention during those moments, you might notice that tingling is always more pronounced when you're in a heightened state, maybe awe or inspiration, or in a room buzzing with connection. It's almost like your spirit is elbowing you and whispering, "Hey, right here, right now, this is it. This is what matters." It makes you wonder, are these tingles some kind of spiritual radar? Your own custom language for intuitive truth? There's so much we brush off as coincidence or as the body just being weird. But what if these sensations are whispers from a layer of reality we're barely beginning to tap? The next time you feel that uncanny humming in your cells, ask yourself, did something just activate? Is the universe giving you a little nudge, reminding you that you're not just flesh and bone, you're woven into something cosmic, with energy moving through and around you, all the time? Stick with me, because what we're going to unravel isn't just an explanation. It's an invitation to decode your body's buzz, and maybe, just maybe, start living on a wavelength that's closer to magic than you thought possible. Honestly, it's kind of wild how even talking about this is giving me that low, subtle buzzing at the base of my skull. I'm not making that up. I think about all the times I've brushed off those goosebumps or shivers, or shrugged when my hands tingled as someone shared a secret. What if my body has always known the language of energy, and yours has too? That's where things get juicy. Is it all just nerves firing? Or is there a bridge here between the world of science and the spirit, a crack where a little bit of the numinous can slip in? Let's get curious right now. Why do we get those energy surges? Science will tell you one thing: electrical nerve endings, maybe a dopamine response. Spirit traditions, they've got 100 beautiful answers, each more poetic than the last. Sometimes these answers actually meld together in the most unexpected ways. So, here's a question. What actually happens in your body, physically and energetically, the moment those tingles cascade through you, and what's actually possible if you start to listen? Okay, so, science class time, but don't worry, I'm not going to bore you. Let's talk about what we know from a physical, biological perspective when it comes to these tingles, these electric surges, these, let's call them, spiritual shivers. Neurologically, we're talking about your body's sensory system picking up on subtle, sometimes not so subtle, internal and external events. Goosebumps, for example, are a remnant of our evolutionary past. Goosebumps used to make our ancestors look bigger and scarier when threatened, or keep their fur standing up for warmth. Kind of hilarious that now, in our well-heated apartments, the fur-raising effect kicks into action when Adele hits that high note or someone we love squeezes our hand in just the right way. On a more technical level, tingling or paresthesia happens when nerve endings fire off a bunch of signals, sometimes triggered by emotion, inspiration, or yes, plain old physical touch. That energy shiver, the kind that creeps up your neck when you're watching a ceremony or listening to that stranger tell a story that pierces your chest. Science says it's often a cascade of neurotransmitters and micro-muscle movements. But here's the fun part. Scientists have started mapping those moments in the brain and finding them linked to reward pathways, empathy circuits, and areas responsible for meaning-making. Why is it that certain sounds or sights can overwhelm us, causing our bodies to react as though, literally, we are being struck by something divine? There's a term for this phenomenon, frisson, which is that chill, tingle, or shiver that sweeps over us during emotionally significant moments. But then, energy workers and spiritual seekers have a slightly different take. They'll tell you these sensations are the movement of subtle energy, prana, chi, vital force, breaking through old blockages or sliding into attunement with the present moment. When your energy body aligns with a deep truth or a pivotal realization, or when you're in the presence of powerful emotion, you're not just firing off neurotransmitters. You're feeling a vibrational resonance, almost like a tuning fork humming within. And I think this is where it gets fascinating, because maybe there's not as much distance between science and spirit as we think. Imagine for a moment that your nervous system is like a super high-tech antenna, picking up thousands of tiny energy cues all the time. When you feel a tingle, it might be the nervous system responding to a mystery it can't quite translate with language, so it gives you a sensation instead. Or maybe it's like your body's yes, that shiver of alignment when you're exactly where you need to be, doing what you're meant to be doing, even if only for a split second. What I love most is how these explanations can exist side by side without needing to cancel each other out. Yes, your body is processing chemicals. Yes, your soul might be pinging you with energy, sometimes both, at the same time. Instead of keeping these worlds apart, what if we let the tingles themselves be a living bridge? So, next time you catch yourself swept up with those goosebumps or that subtle shiver, you can say, "Here I am, a laboratory of spirit and science, buzzing in the best possible way." If this is resonating so far and you want to deepen this connection with your body's energetic language, I've got something special for you. My free ebook, The Magic of Affirmations, is available right now. Just click the link in the description. It's packed with tools that help you fine-tune your energy and unlock higher levels of clarity and abundance. Coming out of the science and spirit angle, let's zoom out a little. The thing that totally blows my mind, think cosmically wide-angled about these tingles and shivers, is how universal they are. All across the world, in every tradition and culture, people have noticed these uncanny sensations and woven elaborate tapestries of meaning around them. So let's hop into some global perspectives, because honestly, we have a centuries-deep treasure trove of stories, ritual, and insight to draw from. Let's travel to India for a second, home to millennia-old stories about the energy body. Here, tingles and shivers aren't just random. They're signals that prana, or life force, is moving through the channels of your subtle body. Ever heard of kundalini? That's the Sanskrit word for the coiled energy said to sit at the base of the spine. When it awakens, people describe a literal surging buzz moving upward through their chakras, often fluttering, tingling, sometimes even wildly ecstatic. In yoga or meditation, practitioners sometimes chase, and sometimes fear, those sudden goosebumps or heat waves. They're seen as evidence that spiritual energy isn't just a poetic metaphor. This is something you can feel with your skin, right now. Then, let's slide over to China, with its extraordinary tradition of Qigong and Taoist inner alchemy. Here, Yang or Yin Qi isn't just a philosophical idea. It's felt as a kind of electricity, heat, buzzing, sometimes coldness, often out at the hands, running through meridian channels. Seasoned practitioners talk about key sensations that show up as shivering, tingling, or subtle rushes when you practice deep breathing, martial arts, or even everyday mindfulness. Imagine using a centuries-old set of exercises to deliberately cultivate that energetic hum within your body, tracking its changes like a scientist and a mystic all at once. Hop to Africa, to the lush West African forests and their animist traditions. Here, tingling and shivering often signal spirits or ancestors visiting, or a person being in a liminal space, sometimes called the spirit wind. When someone receives a message, a dream, or a vision, it's common for their whole body to react. Goosebumps, shivers, an inexplicable heaviness or lightness, all treated as spiritual communication. Ritual dancers report full-body tingles when the ash, a word for spiritual life force, flows freely. In some tribes, tingling in the left hand might mean an influx of intuitive energy, while shivers down the spine could signal a nearby ancestor or a blessing. Think about the indigenous peoples of the Americas in North and South. Many traditions describe a body buzz or an energy wave as a sign of sacred presence. In the Native American Lakota tradition, those physical sensations during ceremonies like the sun dance or vision quest are honored as visitations from Wakantanka, the Great Mystery, or as evidence the veil between worlds is thinning. Shamans in the Amazon talk about Icaro shivers, energy quakes from sacred songs that connect you directly to the spirit world. Imagine sitting by a fire under a dark, starlit sky, feeling your skin ripple in tune with the wind, the drums, and the prayers, all mixing together to remind you you are part of something huge, ancient, and wild. Let's not forget the Kabbalistic mystics in Judaism. There, those tingles might be described as a ruach, a surge of divinely inspired wind, or even the Shekinah, the feminine, indwelling presence of the divine. In Hasidic practice, ecstatic prayer or singing can bring waves of heat and shivers. The tingling, they say, is proof that you're not just reciting words, but dancing with the infinite. Or, in Sufism, the mystical branch of Islam, whirling dervishes track the body's ecstatic tremors as a form of communion. The goal is to spin until the rational mind lets go, and what's left is pure sensation, tingling, chills, and heart-expanding warmth, untethered from narrative. Many Sufi poets wrote about these energy surges as gifts, moments when God breathes into the seeking soul. In Christianity, too, you find people speaking of Holy Ghost chills, divine inspiration causing the body to tremble. Pentecostal and charismatic Christians might get slain in the spirit, taken by a surge of joy, tears, or shuddering. Monks and nuns in the desert would describe fire in the bones, holy energy making their bodies quake with awe. But let's fast forward. Western culture often dismisses these sensations as just the nervous system. And while it's true, neurologically speaking, that oxytocin, dopamine, and adrenaline can cause shivers and tingles, especially during moments of emotional fullness, synchronicity, or truth, it doesn't mean the story ends there. If anything, the physical explanation dovetails with the old spiritual ones, creating a complete map that you can actually explore, starting in your own skin. Even in modern dance, music, and art therapy circles, practitioners are reclaiming these energy sensations as indicators that something meaningful is happening. We talk about resonance, flow states, creative downloads, all pointing to the same mysterious, slightly electric experience as truth or beauty moves through the body. Isn't it wild how, across every boundary of space and time, humans agree? Tingles are telling us something. That's as universal as it gets. I don't know about you, but realizing I share this living, buzzing bridge with humans everywhere, across continents, centuries, traditions, makes those shivers feel less lonely, less random. They turn into an invitation, an initiation even. If you've ever had someone tell you, "My grandfather told me," when you feel that wind at the back of your neck, it's your ancestors greeting you. Or when you hear music that gives you chills, it's your soul remembering something ancient. Believe them. They're talking about a global language, nuanced and embodied, that we all speak, even if we forget sometimes. Let's just pause for a moment and take that in, the idea that your tingles are a little spiritual Morse code you share with billions of people past and present. Next time you get that flash of electricity racing up your spine during a wedding, a funeral, a simple sunset, or a seemingly random moment of clarity, try asking, who else, in what part of the world, has just now felt this same thing for their own sacred reason? Suddenly, it's not just about you, it's about us, together. A million bodies, shamans, priests, dancers, musicians, lovers, all united by this uncanny, beautiful experience of being alive, awake, and plugged into something bigger than our separate selves. I could stay here all day, gathering stories from around the world, but let's get personal for a second and see what this looks like in the wild. Right here, right now. Because you might be wondering, is this just poetic talk, or have people actually had their lives changed by a simple shiver of energy? Close your eyes for a second. Picture your own moment, the first time you ever noticed something foreign, a buzz, a cascade, a flutter, something not quite physical, not quite mental, right there in your solar plexus, scalp, fingertips. You might not even have words for it. Sometimes it sneaks up on you in the middle of a routine day. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah was a busy, overloaded nurse, working double shifts, tired all the time. One really tough day, she found herself standing by a hospital window at sunrise, totally wrung out. Looking at that pink and orange sky, she suddenly felt a tingle move through her, head to toe, like standing in the path of something huge and kind. Her fatigue melted away, replaced by waves of peace. That was the first time Sarah realized her body might be communicating something her mind was way too busy to hear. Slow down, breathe, you're being held. That one sunrise, that tingle, became her daily ritual. Every time she paused to take it in, she found herself feeling steadier, more anchored, like her body had been dying to show her something important all along. Then there's Ahmed, a lifelong skeptic whose culture told him to brush off anything woo-woo. But at his father's funeral, as the imam began the prayers, a shiver started at his feet and moved right to the crown of his head. Every hair stood up. Ahmed described feeling as if someone was gently touching his back, promising, "Your father is still here, just not like before." He admitted, "That shiver made me realize love is bigger than death. I don't have a word for it, but my body knew." And what about Maria, a classically trained violinist? She always brushed off energy talk, until the night she played Dvorak's New World Symphony for an audience, and halfway through, the music felt like lightning in her veins. Her hands trembled, not out of fear, but with joy, pure, unfiltered resonance. After that concert, she began listening for tingles, letting them be her guide. If she felt nothing, she'd stop and recalibrate. When the shivers came, that was her sign the music was true. You might have your own stories, times when a tingle told you to say yes, or a sudden chill stopped you from making a bad decision. People write me all the time with their own real-life tingling moments. I met my soulmate, and the first time our hands touched, I felt a ripple up my arm, like a bell ringing. Or I was sitting in silence, grieving, and felt warmth surround me, goosebumps blooming all over. That's when I knew I was going to be okay. Others remember childhood, when imaginary friends or nighttime stories left them with a strange, fizzy excitement, as though reality had just opened a new door. It's not always dramatic either. For some, the tingles show up during meditation, when the mind finally quiets and a wave of sensation sweeps over the body. For others, it's sex and intimacy, or the first day at a new job, or a conversation that strikes you as utterly, eerily true. My friend Jacob says he knows he's making the right decision when the back of his neck tingles, every single time. The point is, these stories are not new, they're not even rare. They're just rarely talked about in a way that treats them as meaningful. Once you realize tingles could actually be a dialogue with your own deepest wisdom, or even a call and response with some larger field of love or intelligence, life starts to shift. You notice more. You trust those strange surges more. You start to ask not, "What's wrong with me?" but "What is my body trying to show me now?" Or even, "Who is trying to reach me through this river of sensation?" If you take anything from these stories, let it be this: you're not alone. Your tingles are part of an epic, unending, utterly ordinary story about what it means to be alive and plugged in, willing to feel. So, how do you start actually working with, rather than just witnessing, these shivers and buzzes? Here's where it gets incredibly practical and, honestly, kind of fun. There's a practice I use. Think of it like tactile self-inquiry. This is not about controlling the tingles or forcing a mystical experience. It's about creating the perfect conditions for your body's innate intelligence to speak up. Want to try it with me right now? You don't need anything fancy, just an open mind and a willingness to listen to your own skin. First, get quiet. Put away your phone. If you can, dim the lights, maybe even light a candle. But if not, just notice the ambient sounds around you and allow your breath to slow down. You're not forcing relaxation, you're just letting the sensory field settle enough for the subtler cues to appear. Place your hands somewhere comfortable, maybe on your thighs or gently folded together. Notice if your body is holding tension anywhere: jaw, shoulders, belly. Soften them, but don't judge. Now, close your eyes if that feels safe. Take 3 slow, unhurried breaths. On each exhale, imagine your body getting heavier, more grounded, more rooted right where you are. With your mind's eye, scan slowly from the top of your scalp, down your face, neck, shoulders, arms, all the way to your fingertips, then torso, hips, legs, feet. Notice, are there any sensations already before you even start? Maybe warmth, cold, a pulse, or, yes, a faint tingling. After the slow scan, put your attention on the part of your body you most associate with energy movement. For some, it's the hands. Others, the back of the neck, the heart center, the crown. Bring your gentle focus there, not staring, but observing, waiting for the first hint of subtle sensation. If nothing comes, just stay curious. Now, bring to mind a moment when you felt totally lit up, utterly alive, in flow, or moved by love, art, music, or truth. You don't have to describe it, just feel the memory. Watch what your body does. Any small changes? If you notice even a whisper of tingling, allow it to build. Pretend, just for now, that tingling is your body's indicator light for yes, for this is true. Sit with it. Keep breathing. Let the sensation expand or fade as it wishes. If you want to go further, gently tap your fingers together or lightly stroke your forearm, just enough to wake up the nerves without overwhelming them. Sometimes tactile input can prime the pump, so to speak. Now, imagine loving or inspiring words, lullabies, prayers, affirmations, song lyrics, whatever resonates. Say 1 or 2 softly, maybe in your mind, maybe out loud. I am safe. I am present. I am open to energy. Wait. See if goosebumps or tingles stir. If you like, ask your body a question. Nothing major, just, is there something you want me to know? Or, what truth wants to move through right now? If you sense a buzz, a shiver, an expansion, pay close attention. If there's nothing, no big deal. Tomorrow or next week, your body may answer. Before you wrap up, place your hand on your heart or any place that feels alive. Notice if there's a warmth, a hum, a pulse. Thank your body. I hear you. When you're ready, I'll listen. Then, very slowly, open your eyes or move around as though exiting a gentle dream. If you keep practicing, you'll find the sensations get easier to notice, more nuanced. Sometimes the tiniest tingle signals a huge inner yes, or a subtle heads up about what's not aligned. Over time, people report feeling less lost in their heads, more anchored in their bodies. And the tingles? They become like a secret code, a way your intuition taps you when your mind's too busy for words. You might even want to keep a notebook nearby. Journal your tingling moments, what you were thinking, feeling, or witnessing. You'll start to see patterns. Maybe your body buzzes in response to compassion, creativity, or truth. It could be that certain people or places always give you that gentle shiver. These notes become your own sacred map, proof that your body has always been way more wise than you realized. Now, let's stretch out a little further into the realm of mirrors. This might sound abstract at first, but hang in there, because there's gold here. The mirror principle says that your body's physical responses, yes, including tingles, shivers, energy cascades, aren't just random feedback. They're like living mirrors, reflecting some truth you need to hear, showing you where you're aligned or out of resonance, lighting up when you're in sync with your soul. Picture this. Every time you experience one of those chills, tingles, or shimmering surges, your body is holding up a mirror, not just to your environment, but to your inner world. When you're with someone who makes you feel alive and a shiver goes up your arm, it's not just about chemistry. It's a reflection of recognition, like your spirit nodding in agreement. This is true for inspiration too. If a lyric or a line of poetry stirs goosebumps, it's like your soul recognizing its own image in the artwork. That's the real mirror. But it goes deeper, because sometimes those energy shivers show up not only in moments of alignment, but in discomfort. If someone says something that makes all the hair on your arms stand up, is that fear, intuition, or a little warning shot from your own subconscious trying to flag a boundary? In this sense, tingles and shivers become a built-in feedback system, a yes-no gauge for the deepest parts of the self, even when you haven't consciously made up your mind. Learning to trust these mirrored reactions can become a life practice. The more you notice when and where your energy whispers or shouts, the better you get at tuning into what's real for you. Over time, your tingles stop feeling random. Instead, they become mirrors for your relationships, passions, choices. You might find that certain spaces feel buzzier: morning sunlight, a friend's hug, a room where people are laughing. Or certain thoughts trigger a shivery thrill, the ones that get you closer to your purpose, your truth, your own inner North Star. It's not about making tingles into a new dogma. They won't always mean the same thing, and sometimes they're just the weather of your nervous system. But if you start using them as mirrors, they can point you toward your realest, most vital path. You can ask, what am I seeing in this feeling? What's being reflected? What wants to be integrated, honored, or released? Try this next time you get a body buzz. Instead of rushing past it, hang in the space for a few breaths. Ask, what's this showing me about my truth, my boundaries, my connections, my desires? Sometimes the answer is easy. This is what I want. Sometimes it's harder. This needs to change. Either way, your tingles hold mirrors up to your innermost self, asking, are you ready to see? Oh, and by the way, the more you practice this, the more the universe seems to respond. You'll notice more synchronicities, more moments where the right words strike, the right people appear. Even the right sunset blazes bigger. Your energy mirror gets clearer with use. The tingles themselves are less a mystery, more a compass. The upshot: you fall in love with your own ability to sense, discern, and celebrate this electric life, maybe for the first time. So, where does all this leave us? I want you to picture every shiver, goosebump, tingle, or low hum in your body as a secret invitation, an encrypted message from life itself. Whether you want to read it as science, spirit, or both, that's up to you. The magic, honestly, isn't in the explanation. It's in the willingness to feel, to listen, to live with your senses online and your intuition tuned in. And if you're ready to align with these tingles on a deeper level, download my free ebook, The Magic of Affirmations. The link is waiting for you below. It's more than just words. It's a spiritual toolkit for reprogramming your reality. And if this video stirred something in you, like it, share it, and tell me, what's the most powerful energy buzz you've ever felt? I want to hear your stories, your shivers, your moments of magic and meaning. Because your body's buzz isn't just your own secret, it's our shared language for the mystery, the miracle, and the music of being alive.